What's the deal, my people? You know it is Don Tony Teflon, and I'm back at you another one. And Foundation's first 2 episodes jump around the timeline with reckless abandon. In this video, if you weren't sure what was going on, I'm going to explain to you exactly what the timelines are and how everything lines up. What up to all my thugs, nerds, freaks, and geeks? You're now rocking with the best of Don Tony Teflon. And if you can, please subscribe and click that bell so you can be notified every time I drop a new video. Also, thumbs up this video truly helps the YouTube algorithm put this video out so more people can discover it. Helps the channel grow, it doesn't cost a thing, and I thank you for doing it in advance. Now, Foundation is Apple's attempt of having a Game of Thrones type show. And people think that it's Game of Thrones in space, like Game of Thrones and Star Trek combined. If you haven't watched the show, I suggest you check it out. It's on Apple TV. Apple TV is probably the cheapest streaming service of them all, so I always tell people that they should pick it up. Now, in episodes 1 and 2 of Foundation, we can see the show has some truly big challenges ahead of it. So, number 1 is showcasing this massive galactic empire and the trouble that it'll eventually find itself in. To show that on camera is truly hard, and we see them not struggling with it, but they put that in the forefront right off the bat. And right off the bat, when the show airs, right when the episode starts, we see the show writers, they make an interesting choice right in the series. Now, it takes place long after the initial events of the story begin, before the series goes back and forth and back and forth and then works its way forward again. Again, if you watch the first 2 episodes, you would see that there are 4 different time periods and just as many locations in these 2 episodes. To try to keep it straight is pretty hard. I know if someone hasn't read the books or knows anything about it, it might be difficult. So here we go. Let's break this down for you. So what is Foundation? Basically, I would say it's the Roman Empire, and the way that they fell, how powerful they were across the globe, and they owned everything and they were at the height of its power, and then eventually they fall. This is exactly what Foundation is doing in space. That's the easiest way to explain it. Now, in this alternate reality or universe, and however you want to say it, humanity has expanded its presence to inhabit just about all of the galaxy, and it's done this for thousands of years, generation after generation. And the power that holds this together is the Galactic Empire, which controls more than 25 million planets, ruling over tens of billions of people at this point. Now, in this show, there's a cat. His name is Harry Seldon, and he predicts the collapse and says it will happen in a matter of centuries. And that will basically take them back to the Dark Ages for about 30,000 years. Now, if they don't want to happen, someone's going to have to take drastic steps to prevent this collapse. Now, he feels it's going to happen no matter what, but you can prevent it from going for 30,000 years. Just for a couple of generations, it'll be down. So in a nutshell, that's what this show has to bring forth. That's what it has to cover. And we see that when the show first starts, we see this godforsaken world, kind of bleak, called Terminus. And that's where we begin the show. Gaul then, in the voiceover, said that she never came across a world, an unsettled planet, at the further reaches of known space until many years later, when it became part of her own story. Then we're introduced to Salvor Harding, who is the warden of Terminus. As we see these badass kids get saved from a mysterious floating structure that has some kind of mental distortion field surrounding it. Now, then we get another narration from Gaul, and she says that Salvor will become more important in the events to come to pass. And then right after that, we leap 35 years into the past during the actual chronological beginning of the series. Then basically we get to start the show from the jump, and we meet Gaul, and we see that she's a young woman who was summoned to Trantner by Seldon. Now her arrival, her being there, sets the prediction in motion, and they are then summoned before the rulers of this empire. Well, not exactly the ruler or rulers, but a clone, not just one clone, 3 clones of the Empire's original leader. We have Dawn, who is the youngest, who will eventually become the ruler, and then we have Day, who is the middle-aged and current ruler, and then we have the oldest one, Dusk, right? And all versions are of the same person at different stages in this person's life. We then get a conflict between Selden and Day, and this sets the events of the series in motion. Now, rather than kill and martyr him, Day exiles Selden's followers to Terminus, where they can create their own galactic encyclopedia. But even though he allowed them to do this, he says they can't go by jump ship, which means we spend a chunk of episode 2 traveling with them very slowly through space to the same place we saw at the very beginning of episode 1. So the origin of the brothers, we got Dawn, Day, and Dusk, that is shown with 1,000 years flashback featuring the very first emperor who started the whole emperor cloning tradition in the first place. Now, his unchanging genetic dynasty shows exactly what the Empire has become, something that's stuck in their ways and not able to deal with new threats and new things that'll come their way because they're just stuck doing things one way. Now, from what we've seen so far, I can only guess that the series will continue these long decade leaps back and forth in time as the season charts the fall of the Galactic Empire and the rise of the Foundation and its efforts to rebuild the galaxy's civilization. The showrunner did say he planned for 8 seasons and 80 episodes. So now whether he gets all 8 seasons and 80 episodes is another thing. I don't know right now. The first 2 episodes, I'm not gonna say they're mind-blowing, but they're watchable and they make you want to watch more of it. And the fact that Built-in, Man, and Pace are all clones, they can keep them around for all these generations, and then you will have familiar faces as the series goes on. So this show does deviate from the books, but I think in this generation you have no choice but to do so. Remember, this book I think was written in like the 50s, so there weren't really people of color when he wrote the book, and in the show we see people of color in there. So I think that, you know, that's something that you have to do to make things more modern. Also, book purists have to realize that this is an adaptation. It doesn't mean it's going to take exactly what was from the pages and put it on there, because I know people have already complained that they strayed away from the books a little bit, but it's just being adapted from television. Some things in books just don't look good on screen. You know, when you in your mind's eye everything looks great, but actually on the screen is 2 different things. You let me know in the comment section if you have seen this show, if you have read the books. Do you the direction the show is going? Do you think they could have done stuff better? Please let me know in the comment section. I'll be back as always with more fleshed out reviews in the future. This is just basically trying to explain the timeline and not exactly the review of the episodes. That's why it's like this, but I'll have a more in-depth reviews going forward. Again, let me know in the comment section how you feel about Apple TV's new big show. Do you think that this could be their Game of Thrones? Can it be Apple TV's big show? And when I say that, what I mean is, are people going to buy Apple TV to see this show? That's where the rubber meets the road. Are people going to be willing to plop down whatever $4.99 a month just to watch this show? Is this show that good in your opinion? You let me know. I already have Apple TV. You know what I mean? I already spent the money. So I don't know if I would do that for this show, and would others? That is the key for success. Let me know again in the comment section how you feel about this situation. And if you like the way I do this, please thumbs up this, please spread this across the realm, and as always, subscribe. And until next time, you know who it is. Peace and stay sexy.